You record?
Is it okay if we have drinks?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. In September of 1975, a man who would soon be known as the Golden State Killer shot and killed Claude Snelling in Visalia, California after brutally assaulting her. In the following years, 1976 and 1978, the Golden State Killer had a string of home robberies and rapes across California. For the next 10 years, this man went on to killing 12 more people and assaulting countless women without being caught. After his last murder, his case went cold. However, in 2018, this killer was identified through genetic genealogy science as Joseph DeAngelo, a former police officer who has since been sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Imagine that someone you love has been taken away from you in a brutal way that leaves you with countless questions. Now imagine never getting an answer to any of your questions, never getting closure for what happened to your loved one. You are expected to live the rest of your life in confusion while police and officers, and even the government, pushes your loved one's unsolved case aside in order to focus on other cases. How would you feel? My interest in true crime began when I was in middle school and found the show Dateline. After that, it stemmed from watching TV shows like Criminal Minds, and then eventually I began nonstop listening to true crime podcasts whenever I could. A common interest I found in all these pieces of media was taking a notice whether the case was cold, solved, or open. After learning about how many cases have gone cold, I've since felt very strongly that America as a whole should pay more mind to these forgotten investigations. Almost all of the existing cold cases in America can be solved with new technology by American law enforcement, and we should be working towards this goal because not only does it make America safer, but it also brings justice to the victims and their families. Cold cases in America are at a drastic incline every year, leaving more and more victims without closure. According to the U.S. Department of Justice, experts estimate that based on UCR data, our nation currently has 250,000 unsolved murders, a number that increases by about 6,000 each year. Unsolved cases means mounting caseloads with strained resources and result in higher costs for agencies with limited budgets. With large quantities of cold cases, more families without closure, more criminals on the loose and with the opportunity to hurt again, and less trust in the justice system. In an article conducted by CBS News, daughter of the brutally murdered Gertrude Pizarro, Sherry Karen, discussed the toll of not knowing what happened to her mother. She says, "Our family has struggled with this and has been a cloud that has hung over all of us for these years. Everybody wanting, needing to know what happened and not having any answers," Karen added. "We lost our family. My father broke his heart and my heart." With recent discourse in general between law enforcement and the rest of America, tensions are even higher with unfound killers on the loose that the trained and trusted professionals failed to find. Once society has recognized this growing issue, it is important to put a plan in action in order to solve it. There are a few things America as a whole can do to put more hope in cold cases. These things include more research on forensic technology, public awareness, legislative changes, and stronger push in cold case research in American law enforcement. Forensic technologies over the past few years have developed to a point where it is solving infamous cold cases that at one point did not have any hope of being solved. Some of these cases being the aforementioned Golden State Killer, along with BCK. As for public awareness, the more you familiarize yourself with ongoing or cold investigations, the closer it is to being solved. You never know when you may have information that investigators don't. As of now in America, there are federal and state statute of limitations laws that prevent certain crimes from officially being solved, even if there is sufficient evidence. According to FindLaw.com, under Illinois law, the statute of limitations depends on the severity of the crime you face, ranging from 1 year and 6 months to no time. While crimes such as first and second degree murder usually have no statute of limitations at all, it would still be helpful to get rid of this law in order to receive proper justice on other harmful crimes. The matter of timeline. Going back to Joseph DeAngelo, or the Golden State Killer, it's important to note that some of his crimes he was proven guilty for, he did not get charged for because of the California statute of limitations. Although he was convicted of all murder charges, other crimes he committed unfortunately fall under the California statute of limitations laws. The most important thing, however, the American government can do to support solving these cold cases is to provide more funding. Cold case research does not have a strong place in law. To avoid taking attention away from current cases, there should be a much stronger and larger cold case unit with additional researchers and investigators, not out as many cases as possible. While it's important to recognize what law enforcement can do to solve cases, it's even more important to understand what you can do. The more cold cases solved, the safer our country is for yourself and our loved ones. Although you may feel powerless in helping forgotten cases, you and regular American citizens in general are actually the most important puzzle piece in bringing justice to the ones who have not received it yet. Even though true crime, understandably, is not your thing, still take the time to familiarize yourself with what is going on in the world around you. Not only to be aware for your safety, but there also may be a day when a situation arises where you have vital information for law enforcement. Although it could take extreme courage to tell law enforcement about possibly incriminating information about someone you know, it is ultimately the right thing to do for the safety of Americans. You never know when you know something that is helpful. Speak up. As I mentioned before, there are an estimated 6,000 additional murder cases, cold cases annually tacking on to our current 250,000. This could mean an additional 6,000 killers on the loose every single year. The solving of more cold cases leads to a safer place for you and your family to live. It makes America better in general. Once more cold cases are solved, it will also lead to more opportunities and time for law enforcement to integrate itself into our communities, preventing any harm from being done in the first place. A large impact can be made up on our entire country with every single cold case solved. Wouldn't you like to be a part of that? As you leave here today, keep in mind the impact you have on the rest of the country. If our law enforcement government does their job by limiting statute of limitations laws, providing more funding and time for cold cases, and forensic technologies, and we all do our jobs of being an active citizen in our society, countless victims and families can finally be brought to justice. It is not impossible to do the right thing and fix things in our society. Together, we are only 250,000 cases.
Good job.